making bold moves. The Golden State Warriors made the boldest of bold moves this offseason. They traded away a young asset in Jordan Poole for Chris Paul. And we all thought, damn, how's this going to look? Really, Chris Paul? I went crazy.
One of the most hated players in Bay Area sports history.
But you know what? The chemistry is better than I thought it ever was. Joe Lacob came in the studio and said, I've never been around a team that's worked out so much in the offseason together. You hear the vibes. They all said it. Now, we wanted to believe it. It was tough to believe it after last season, but you know what?
We had to see it.
We had to see it.
I mean, let's call it like that.
And you know what? 5 games into the season, I've seen enough. I've seen enough.
Really?
I know the vibes are going to be good. Now, I'm not guaranteeing the championship.
No.
I'm not saying we're going to be in the NBA Finals, but we got a good team on our hands, folks, in the Bay Area. They know how to play basketball, and they've got all these different combinations, a variety of lineups they can go to, a variety. It's like a buffet at Sizzler.
But one thing I don't want to do.
The tacos, the fried chicken, the sundae, the salad, you get everything.
One thing I don't want to do is I don't want to turn this entire season into a, see, Jordan Poole was the problem.
No, it's not that.
And the reason why I say that is I personally believe that, and let's just start with Draymond Green. I think Draymond Green did a little bit of self-reflection. Now, is Dre going to step out of bounds at some point? Probably. That's who he is, right? We know. He likes to go real tight on that tightrope, okay? And there's times where he's going to...
that tightrope?
Yeah, he's going to fall, right? We know that, okay? But as of right now, he's saying all the right things. He's playing the right way. There was a play late in the game. I highlighted it to you this morning. Moses Moody doesn't go back door. Draymond bounce passes it out of bounds. And he's jumping up and down, and he's angry at him. But then he comes over and he talks to Moses Moody instead of letting that anger just, carry over into the next possession. I think the young players, let's call it what it is, whether they were good enough to play or not is irrelevant at this point. I think we could admit that, Kuminga's attitude wasn't the greatest when dealt with adversity. I think he looked in the mirror, and I think he's made some changes. He's clearly been a more concerted effort of boxing out. He is taking the leap in terms of making the extra pass. Moses Moody always has felt like a professional, but boy, and he had rebounds, blocks. I mean, he's doing the perimeter defense. He's doing all the grimy things to stay on the floor, right? And so I look at some of the guys who didn't have big roles last year. They have looked in the mirror and showed up this year. I know we're going to make a lot about, see, good thing we got rid of Jordan Poole. But I also think that takes away from giving credit to some of the people who were on the roster last year who have made improvements. And that brings me to Klay Thompson. I think Klay Thompson's first 2 weeks of games has been so encouraging because the discernment in the half court is there in terms of shot selection. I love where he's at. He's made plays. He's limited the turnovers. Defensively, I thought he actually stayed in front of guys yesterday. There was a possession on Duarte. What's the guy's name?
Chris Duarte.
Duarte. I was going to call him something else. Duarte, which was excellent defense, and he blocked him. There was another possession where he gave a beautiful pass to Saric, but it got taken away because of a horrible crash and dash pass. He set up Draymond late in the game. His half-court offense has been so much better, and I really worried about what he was going to look like heading into a contract year. Man, he looks so comfortable and confident and playing within the fabric of a team game. Steph's always going to be Steph, but these guys have stepped up. Kevon Looney feels like he's always going to give you the Kevon Looney stuff. But the guys who didn't show up last year all seem to be on their P's and Q's this year. So forget ripping Jordan Poole. Let's celebrate what these guys have done to change their game for this year.
Yeah, but let me say this, though. We're not going to rip Jordan Poole, but it's obvious that this team wasn't vibing with Jordan Poole. Now, again, I go back to training camp and, I put it on Draymond Green for doing what he did. You can't do that. You just can't. You can't hit a teammate. You can't punch a teammate. And once that happened, divides. It was no sugarcoating. You saw it once you got on the road. You see them drop their first 5 games. That's where you build that chemistry away from home. That's where you get together as a team and you go to dinners and you hang out and you get together on the road. It's you against the world, and that just didn't happen last year. But in terms of basketball, at some point you gotta not turn the page, but you gotta play for your team. And look, man, Jordan Poole was tasked with leading that second unit. Just didn't happen.
Yeah.
It just didn't happen. Just didn't settle the game down. Didn't get the team in the right sets. There was a lot of bad shots. There was a lot of blown leads. It is what it is. It is what it is. And right now, it looks like Mike Dunleavy, Joe Lacob, Kurt Lacob made the right decision in moving on from Jordan Poole and getting a seasoned vet Now, that season vet was Chris Paul, a guy we did not like. We're just like, what? We're going to bring this guy in? He's cooked. He's done. He's injury prone. And an injury still might happen. The whole goal is to get him ready for the playoffs, and hopefully he is healthy. But there's no doubt this guy is a point guard, settles things down. And now the second unit, they're extending leads. They're not blowing leads. They're extending leads. They're helping stabilize the game. So when the non-Steph minutes happen, you don't have to worry anymore because you got a great Hall of Fame ball handler who has one of the best IQs we've seen on the basketball court in Chris Paul. And now it's empowering Jonathan Kuminga to run the lane. Now it's empowering Dario Saric to pick and pop and hit that three from the top of the key. And it looks really good. Moses Moody is coming along here. When we see Trace Jackson Davis, because he will have a role on this team, he knows how to roll to the basket. And he's learning how to play with Chris Paul. So as much as I'm not going to get on Jordan Poole and rip him it's about the team this year. But there's no doubt something in that locker room had happened, and now they feel like they're one unit.
That's undeniable.
And one thing instead of looking at Jordan Poole, let's just celebrate the Warriors picking the right guys. They identified Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, said, you know what, we're going to exercise these fourth-year options. They know how to play the style. They know how to play with this team.
I'm glad they didn't trade him away. I mean, let's be honest. I think a lot of Warrior fans thought that maybe could they trade those guys away? Didn't we?
Yeah. Well. I mean, some people did. Let's go to Sean in Oakland. Sean in Oakland's been on hold for a while. Let's get to the calls, man, because I want to talk about the game. I want to talk about where this team is at, and I want to get to some Draymond Green side. I don't want to harp on last year. Last year was last year, and we all want to forget about last year, especially the way it ended, losing to the L.A. Lakers. I want that fifth championship just like Joe Lacob. Let's go to Sean in Oakland. What's happening?
Hey, what's up going on? What's up, Bonta and Shasky?
What's up?
Hey, I got y'all back too, man. Anybody want to bring it to 95.7? Bring it all the way. Don't halfway do it.
Yeah, seriously, ain't no halfway step in here, man. We could all get smoke. I've been wrong. I've had terrible opinions before. I'll have another terrible opinion at some point. I will. But you know what? Some of these self-righteous writers need to check themselves. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, man, but you looked the fly too in that suit yesterday too with the Curry stuff. You and Chris.
Oh yeah, thank you, brother. I got the Currys on right now. I got something for you about the Currys. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. So basically, hey man, you gotta pay Clay, man. You got to, because at the end of the day, Wiggins only shot he only had 2 points in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
You needed Clay in that second half, and he brought it. So I appreciate what this man is doing, even though with all the scrutiny that's going on with his contract and everything, he's still playing, he's still balling, and he's still playing defense. And you can see the whole aura of the Warriors is totally different from. We ain't gonna talk about too much of last year, but this year it's totally different. It's everybody's playing good, playing free, and enjoying themselves like they used to when they won them championships and stuff. So I'm excited. I'm waiting for that caller to call, too, that said he had something for you guys, too, when the Sacramento thing. I forgot his name. But
RJ?
Yeah.
He already called us. Hey, Sean, he called us 8 minutes into the show. Yeah,
poor guy.
You know, he went to Popeyes last night. He was really depressed. He went to Popeyes, ate some fried chicken, and got some biscuits. You know, he'll be all right. I mean, but that's the difference, Sean, right? And thanks for the call. That's the difference. The Kings are worried about just beating the Warriors one time. We're worried about having another parade down Market Street. That's our mindset. And it's okay to have that mindset again, fans. It's okay to think big. Why wouldn't you want to think big for your team? Why wouldn't you want to be in the championship stakes?
Especially these guys that have earned it. He was talking about how just everything looks a lot better. Just call it what it is. They're having fun. They look like they're having fun again. And winning's fun. That's one thing I always tell, whenever we're youth, it's not winning. It shouldn't be the end all be all. But when you win, people have fun. I don't care how old you are, 6, 36, 16, or 26. If you are winning, things tend to be fun. And that's where, last night, Andrew Wiggins, who he referenced, doesn't get to play in the final minute or whatever. But when you win, he really can't say anything.
And he said that in Anthony Slater's piece. Anthony Slater's going to join us today at 7:30. Our NBA insider here at 95.7 The Game does a great job for The Athletic. Wiggins said this piece on Sunday. I know I wasn't in the closing lineup, but you know what? If we're winning, it is all good. And that's how I figured it. Now, if they were losing and if they were 2-3 or 1-4 and Wiggins wasn't in the lineup, maybe he starts moping. Maybe Looney starts moping. But you know what? These guys have great character. They know what time it is. And we saw another different lineup last night. Gary Payton II, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Chris Paul. So what do you have there? You have two offensive juggernauts in Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry. Two great shooters, two of the greatest shooters of all time, right? Then you got Draymond Green and Gary Payton II. They will lock you down individually, defensively. They will make life difficult for you. And the Warriors felt so good about their defensive setup. GP2 was defending Sabonis at times late last night. GP2 6'2". Sabonis is a 7-footer. Worked out well for the Golden State Warriors. And then you get the ultimate ball handler and stabilizer and Chris Paul, who's not going to turn the ball over again. I'm blown away by how well Chris Paul is fit with this team. He has 41 assists on the season. 41 assists on the season, just 6 turnovers.
Are you surprised that he is accepting the role so brilliantly?
I'm not surprised at all.
Really?
No, I never. What have I said all along, Shasky? Chris Paul's going to be fine coming off the bench.
Yeah.
He knows what time it is.
Yeah.
He's trying to win a championship.
But don't you think Chris Paul, like him feeling as comfortable as he is because to me, it looks like Steph Curry has gone out of his way in a good way to empower Chris and to make him one of the leaders.
Are you surprised by that?
I could see a dynamic in some work situations where, hey, it's us 3 and you are over there. But like they've done a really good, and this is where I do think these guys need credit. Like, it's one thing to talk it. It's another thing to do it. And when they're doing these huddles and everyone's got their arms around each other and they're talking, it's a partnership. And I never got that feeling last year. It felt like 2 or 3 separate teams.
Yeah, last year was last year. Last year was a mess. But are you surprised, though? Because Kevin Durant came here. And Steph Curry had to tell Kevin Durant over and over, dude, you're one of us. Well, we're going to empower you. You be Kevin Durant.
Well, those
and
guys.
Kevin Durant had to tell Steph Curry, yo, I need you to be Steph Curry too.
But Bonte, let's not forget, like,
and Kevin Durant had a huge ego.
They had trying moments too. You know, they did.
They won 2 championships.
No, I know, but they had
that first year with Kevin Durant in 2016-17. They had been one of the best teams in NBA history.
No doubt, but look, NBA locker rooms are filled with conflicts all the time. That's why guys are getting traded all over the place. So
but they didn't have things. They didn't have things until year 3.
Yeah,
and maybe some of the year 2 or whatnot, but the first year was all good. It was all good.
I think it was fair to be skeptical, and now that we've seen it like 5 games in, they're 4-1, and it just feels and looks a hell of a lot better. And I don't think you could have scripted a better start to the season.